Hello and welcome to my review of the BIQU Magician. Now this is my first Delta printer. I have several other printers, as you can possibly hear in the background, but this is my first Delta printer. Now BIQU reached out to me and asked me to do a review of this printer, so this is my honest review. They have supplied the printer free of charge, but I am not being paid for this review, and everything I say in this review are my own thoughts and feelings, and I haven't been paid to say anything in specific. Now this Delta is a small form factor printer. The print bed is only 100mm in diameter and the print height is 150mm. Comes packed in this nice useful box with foam at the top and the bottom, so it's quite a portable machine. It's a small machine, small form factor, it only takes up a small area on your desk, and therefore is quite useful for somebody starting out in 3D printing, or somebody who is quite young and they want it in their bedroom or whatever. Now it hasn't got a heated bed, so it only prints in PLA, but I don't see that as an issue if it's a start out printer. Now it's currently available on Amazon. I'm just checking the latest price here, for £179 on Amazon Prime with next day delivery. Now although this isn't the cheapest Delta printer on the market, I do believe the quality is very good, and I shall just quickly go through a few of its features for you, and then we'll do a quick test print. Now as you can see, there are 3 fans on the top of the machine here, and behind that is a Titan style extruder. We have a small reel of filament on top, which is their own make of filament, which I've found very good. You are able to print from SD card or connect to your computer. The software that they use is Cura, which comes on the SD card, but you can also use Simplify 3D and most of the leading softwares. As you can see, it's a full-size card reader, and we also have a colour screen, touch screen, for actually using the machine, which is very useful, again very helpful for first-time users of the machine. It has a removable build plate like so, which is flexible, and it has self-leveling bed, which is done using this little device here, which I shall show in the other camera, which you stick onto the bottom of the nozzle and do the self-leveling function, and that works from a sensor that's on the bottom of there, and that will do your leveling for you. So what comes in the kit when you unpack the box? Basically it is as you see it here. The spool of filament you have to put on, and the spool holder, which has a bearing in it, you have to fit. You have 3 clips to unclip from here, 3 cable ties with a little bit of foam around them, just to hold those 3 axes in position. But apart from that, you're pretty much ready to go. So you just power it up like I have done here and start. Now something I need to point out is, in the early models they had an issue with the power supply, and you will see some reviews that say the power supply was faulty and some people had smoke coming out of it and one thing or another. Now they have addressed this issue and addressed it quickly. If you receive a machine that went out from their factory before the power supply was changed, you will get another power supply in the post within a day or 2 of having received the machine. Mine came the next day. This power supply has been tested entirely and is perfectly safe. BIQU were very quick to get in contact with me about it. Their customer service is brilliant. They have a Facebook page, for which I shall leave a link in the description below, and they're very quick to help you with any issues that you might have. But really, any problems that I've seen appear in reviews before, they have quickly dealt with, and they seem to be a company that are listening to their customers and doing their best to make the best machine possible. So without further ado, I'll guide you through a few things on the menu, and we will do a quick bed leveling. Now as you can see, we have a full colour touchscreen with very simple icons, very easy to read, and a very intuitive system. You've got home button, settings button, operations button, heat button. As you can see, they're all on there. Go into the settings, you're able to adjust the baud rate if you connect directly to a PC, adjust the screen size, adjust the language, and if you go into machine, there is also the ability to adjust the Z offset the length, the radius and a maximum Z height. All very simple to do, all very straightforward, all done from this touch screen. So it just to make it very simple. Simple push button or something like that, just very nice and easy to do. If you press the print button, it takes you into the file system and you can pick one of the files from there. There are several that come with it as test prints, one of which we will do later. But there is also on the SD card, as well as the instructions and everything else, and some short videos on how to do the bed leveling, there is also a profile for you to load into Cura, so then you have all the settings correct in Cura for slicing anything you wish to print. So we'll do a quick leveling now. Now this is a very simple system. If you look on the smaller screen in the corner, you'll see me pick up the leveling sensor, which looks like that, and on the other end has that. Now that clips onto a cable running down from the side of the machine, and you just clip that in, and then you set the foam pad, which you've attached to the sensor, onto the bottom of the nozzle. Now you must make sure that the nozzle of course is cold when you do that, and the best way to do that, if you press the heat button, you can see here we have an AC setting. If you press the AC setting, that will immediately set the machine to cool everything down. It's already cool at the moment, so we don't need to do that. But if your nozzle temperature is high, if you press the AC button, it will then cool it down for you. So simply attach the sensor, put the foam part of the sensor over the nozzle and press the leveling button. And as you see, the machine will test several places on the platform, making sure that it gets a level. And once it's done that, and it's happy with the level that it's got, it will then return to the home position, like so. So very simple, and then all you need to do is to lift that from the bottom, undo that from the side, and there's a little place just to put that 2-pin connector into, so it's out of the way, and that's your bed level, and you're ready now for printing something from the SD card. So let's just go through how we go about doing that. So now that you've leveled your bed and you're ready to do your first print, you need to apply a little bit of glue to the removable plate there. As I say, this is not a heated bed, so really only useful for PLA, and a little bit of glue from a glue stick will help that first layer to adhere. So then we just go into the menu system and we press on print, and we go into that folder, we go into English, we go into examples, pre-sliced models, and we will pick robot. So that will automatically now start to heat the nozzle up to 200 degrees, which is the temperature set for their filament which comes with it, and the minute it gets to 200 degrees we will start to see it print. So we're just coming up to temperature now. It's at 194 degrees. It needs to get to 200, and it's taken approximately 2 minutes and 20 seconds to get to 200 degrees. So about 2.5 minutes from cold to get up to temperature to start printing, which I think is a fairly good rate of heating. So we'll just wait for it to start the print now, and if you look on the bottom corner of the screen, you will see it start to put down the first layer. There, hopefully you can see the first layer going down. It's not the quietest machine, but it does work very well and is actually quite tuneful. So as you can see there, printing away quite merrily. First layer gone down without any problems at all. And this is what I found with this machine. It does appear once you get the bed leveling sorted out and you make sure that you put some glue onto your bed. It does print very well and very easily. So we'll just leave that to print and then we'll come back and have a look at the results. So let's take a look at some results. This was the original model that was printed from the SD card. Now the main body works perfectly well. The resolution is very good. The finish is very good. Unfortunately, there is an issue with the head. Now I believe that issue with the head is nothing to do with the printer. It's actually to do with the model. And the fact that the head is printed free floating. So the problem is when the Delta printer gets to print the head, it's spinning round as it's laying down the filament onto the print, making it looking rough like it is. And like I say, I believe that's an issue actually with the model rather than the filament. The actuation of the arms and legs all works very well. There's no issues with that. All his body parts move. Of course, it was all printed in one piece. And that is their own filament run at 200 degrees, and I think that's quite a nice print. So after I had that little issue, I then started slicing my own things using S3D and a profile that I found on their Facebook page. There's some files on the Facebook page and somebody had put up a profile for S3D. So I went straight ahead, grabbed some bits and pieces. The first thing I did was a 20mm test cube. Now that was done on just some filament I had floating about. I'm not 100% certain what make that is. That is just some filament I had available to me, but I'm very pleased with that test cube. That has come out incredibly well. I really struggle, unless I want to be really picky, I really struggle to find fault with it. There is a little bit of ghosting and a little bit of banding, but quite frankly I'm very impressed with that. I've got to say, I'm very impressed. So after the test cube, I then went and got some white PLA, which I believe is, let me get this right, this is Florence Tech white PLA from the UK, and I printed that logo for my daughter, and that's come out incredibly well. Again, really pleased with the quality of that. No issues with the print of that at all. Came out very nicely, if only the camera would focus. So that came out particularly well. Then I went into my PLA store, dug out some matter hackers, and decided the best thing to do on a Delta printer is a vase. So out came the matter hackers light blue PLA, and this is what we got. Now there is a little bit of stringing in the veins, you can see there, but overall I'm very impressed with that. That's come out beautifully well, beautifully finished, and I would say for a first run of prints I'm very, very pleased with that. So finally I decided to print one more thing. Now this is some new filament that's just come to me, and this is from Sunlu, and this is a clear PLA. So let's have a look at the results of that. So as you can see, this is the Sunlu clear PLA, and I've done another vase, and I'm absolutely blown away by this. We'll just take it off the build surface, which is easy to do because it's so flexible. There is a little glue residue left on the bottom, but that of course will clean up with warm water. to leave an absolutely beautiful, beautiful vase. Don't know whether you can see that, but the way the light shines off that translucent PLA is beautiful. The finish on this is gorgeous. Let me just see if I can get this into focus for you to let you have a look at that. That is just a beautiful vase. It printed quite quickly, no real issues with anything with it. I just think all round that was a fantastic print, and I'm really very pleased with it. So my final thoughts and conclusion on the BIQU Magician 3D printer. Quite frankly, it is a magician. For £179 delivered from Amazon Prime in the UK, I can't see you putting a foot far wrong with this. The build quality is fantastic. All the plastics are injection moulded. The metal is of good quality. It works almost directly out of the box. You basically just need to fit the spool holder on the top, cut 3 cable ties, take some cling wrap off which supports it while it's in transit, power it up, and you're ready to go. It's got a Titan style extruder. It's got 3 fans to keep the temperature correct. It's got a high precision leveling ability with this pressure pad leveling system, which is a little strange to get used to, but once you do get used to it, it works very well in conjunction with the Z height adjustment which there is in the firmware. The only slight downside is you can't get a full roll of filament onto this spindle on the top, but it works perfectly well from another filament holder on the side here, or you could probably find one on Thingiverse that will sit on the top and allow you to use a full roll of filament. The print quality out of this machine is fantastic. As you can see from what I've shown you, apart from the fact there was a slight issue with the model on the robot, it prints beautifully. All the articulation works on the robot using their own filament, which is a good clean filament, prints very nicely, no issues with the filament either. I can't find a downside to this machine. If you have a small area in which to start your 3D printing, or you have a child or a teenager who wants to get into 3D printing, this is an ideal first machine. I'm thinking things like printing models for Dungeons and Dragons. As you can see, the vases come out beautifully. Small models, you could do key rings, anything like that. Very simple, very straightforward, and sets people on the path to the fun of 3D printing. I'd just like to say at this point, I'd like to thank BIQU for letting me have this machine to do this review for you. I am pleased with the outcome. I love the machine, I love the way it works. They appear to be a company that listen to their customers. They're very helpful. The Facebook page is very quick to respond to any issues or problems you have. Their technicians are there to help. They do personalized videos. If you have a problem or an issue, or there's something you can't understand, they will happily record a video for you of what you need to do to correct the issue, and either send it to you through Facebook or email it to you. Their technical support is fantastic. I have no issues with language barrier. They seem to understand English very well indeed and try as hard as they possibly can to help. There has recently been a firmware update on this machine which you will need to download from their website or from their Facebook group, which also gives you power resume function. If you have a power loss or the cable gets knocked out of the wall, this machine has the function to be able to restart the print from where it was when the power went off. That is a great addition to this machine, which also helps to make it a good machine for the beginner or a young person. I would personally like to thank Karen Kai, who was my contact at BIQU. She's a great ambassador for the company. Nothing is too much trouble, and she really does help you out. I'd like to thank BIQU again for providing the machine and giving me my first foray into Delta printing, which I hope won't be my last. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.